Good morning to everyone. Welcome to 2023 Town Hall from Hipoges. We have the pleasure here to talk a little bit about what we are going to do this year, but especially to give a big thank you for everything that we did in the past years. Today, the idea is to go over our objectives, our targets, our achievements, and especially the vision and the strategy going forward. Today here we have with us Hugo and Claudio, our CEOs, Marta, that is the CFO of the group, and Juanja, the Global Chief Operating Officer, to talk about these results. So we will be starting with a small video of Hipoges.
Hello, good morning to all. How could I put the slide? So, hello, good morning to all. So, to start on my side, just some highlights from 2022 and where we are on 2023. Just some small KPIs in terms of clients and assets under management. So we will look on the presentation. Okay, so sorry for this delay. As I was saying, so that is to basically look to the progress of the assets under management and just see a bit the evolution. As we could see here, so just looking to until 2021, just saying that 2019, 2020, we were just in 3 geographies. In terms of countries that we were doing business, and in 2021, quite proud to enter in the biggest market of NPL in Europe, which was Italy. So you could see the progress until 2021, and I think the good thing here is if you look to these KPIs, you see that year by year are growing. I have just stopped on 2021 because now that we're going to move to 2022, of course, there is a big event, let's say, in Hipoges, that was the contract that we won from the bad bank in Spain called Sareb, and of course, the AUM of Hipoges has absolutely changed. But saying this, I think it's quite important that we have in mind that basically, if you look to the first bar, the Spain, you see that independently of Sareb, that has a big effect, the amount of portfolios that we have been able to basically add to the company. The same in Portugal, and continue the growth, as we could see, another 3 portfolios, 2 that was portfolio acquisitions, and another servicing contract with the Portuguese bank. Moving on, the same, independently that, of course, that the AUM of Italy and Greece are still a bit more smaller than the others. It is quite good to see the capability that we are having to grow in terms of new portfolio. Just one event that it is true that the reduction that we see in Italy, because it was closed one of the portfolios, but by other hand, in a very competitive market, quite tough market, the winning of 3 portfolios last year is quite good. And I think there is one point that I want to leverage here is Italy being the biggest market in Europe. I think it is really a big achievement for us, and strategically is going to be a quite good market. The same moving to Greece, and just to say that basically this is the 2 geographies that nowadays are smaller, but are probably the biggest markets with great opportunities going forward. Moving, just to give a final snapshot on 2023, the good thing is that, of course, that we are just in March, and they need to look similar to 2022, but just see the capability that we have already with 2 portfolios assigned in Spain, and the same in Greece, that is a quite tough market, winning a new client, a local fund, with a quite good portfolio. So, as I was saying, I think this is just proving that we have been able to grow since 2021. Moving on, the idea here is just to give by visibility. I think it's quite important that you guys see, sorry, give me just a second, to see a bit the growth we were seeing just in AUM, and now we are seeing in terms of number of clients. Again, every country is growing and diversifying clients. This is quite important. I will move to the next slide, because if I think one of the bases of Hipoges since day one have been our capability to basically not focus in just one client, and this capability of basically diversifying the client bases. This has been key, independently of how much is the weight today of Sareb. If you look after KKR, Deutsche Bank, so it's quite amazing that until the top 10, how diversifying is the weight, let's say, the UM that these clients have in our business. This is really important because diversification basically mitigate the risk. So just by curiosity, because I think it's always good that you guys understand in terms of clients and the AUM that they have with us, this is just globally the picture. Moving on, and I'm trying to move. Sorry, guys. So just 1 second, some technical issue here. Trying to move on. Yes, so good. So just to give these good highlights, so 2023, as I was mentioning, so we won this portfolio in Spain called Galapagos with KKR, quite sizable portfolio, and I think we lost one that we all know, who is more focused in Spain, that was called Yellowstone. So I think it was a great way to close the year with this big portfolio that KKR has been awarded. We are not the second one that is in the middle. We are not putting the name because officially is not closed, but 99% probability to be. And this, as you could see, this face value independently of a slice of unsecured is quite good to be able to get this one. And not minor, because again, Greece in the competitive environment is quite tough. I'm really proud to see the company getting this portfolio. And we have not put here because Nikitas asked us to not include because it's still being closed, but we have another 2 that we are almost there, that we just not put by the question of being defensive, but quite proud on the capability that we have to start the year growing the business in Greece. Moving on, I'm trying to give a visibility because I think everyone is always very interested. I'm not. Okay. So by country, this is quite good. As again, I reinforce the idea, Spain, the diversification that we have in terms of clients. Of course, Sareb has a big weight. Going to Portugal, the same. So this capability of working with so many clients, again, the diversification of the client bases mitigate the risk. But just to all, managing so many clients is quite challenging. So I think we should be always very proud on our capability to not stop growing in terms of clients and managing them. Moving to Italy again. So the good thing is that in some markets we cross clients, but again, our capability to work with different type of capital, different type of clients, credit funds, hedge funds, banks. So it is really amazing. And Greece is just another example on our capability not only work with banks, not only work with investors, but even work with our competitors. So I think it proves the quality of the service and the company that we set up in this country. So I hope that was good, the data, just these KPIs, and I'm sorry for certain technical issues that we faced.
Good, thank you. So moving on to the financial, just to give you some visibility with the big KPIs. If this move on. Or not. Fine. It takes some time. The evolution is like this.
It's not
so
easy.
It's not easy. So looking to revenues, which I think that is the main magnitude that gives us visibility on how the growth that Hugo was mentioning before, on all the evolution on AUMs and we got. Here you have the evolution by country, so looking by the side of the revenues. As you see, looking to the last 5 years, and after we'll see what is expected for this current year, 2023. So 2019 is the year in which, as you see, we started with the introduction into the Greek market. Before 2018 was just Spain and Portugal, so 2019 introduction of Greece. 2020, do not forget always that is, and it's quite important to see that this was the COVID year. So we had, we were stuck and we could not move on really, but even though we were able to grow again, so it was a great achievement. 2021, the show started again and we did 2 big M&A transactions and we were introduced into the Italian market with the majority of the acquisition into Axis, our servicing company and advisory in Italy, and also with Domus, the intermediation company we acquired here in Spain. 2022, again, another great challenge, and even we had 2. We had the incorporation of Sareb, that Hugo mentioned before. Here it's important to understand for the growth also in the next slide, that Sareb was introduced into 3 installments. We were given the first part of the portfolio in July, the second it was in August, and the last part, which was half of the REO portfolio, it was in October. So the reading of introduction was slow and is not comparable with a full year. And the same for Cobo. We had quite a big property management company here in Spain, and it was given a great impact in the Spanish revenues, as you can see. And now, what can we expect for 2023, or what do we expect? So moving from 120 million euros group revenues into last year, we expect to move to 210 million euros. How can this be possible? Well, we have the 3 main drivers, I think. The first slide, as you see, is the new business, is what we think it could be the new contribution from new transactions and even a new business that we expect we could set up, giving more value into our product cycle. Sareb, as I said before, 2022 was a strange year with introduction in 3 steps, and 2023 is a full year, and this will give us an additional, we expect 20 million euros, and the same situation for Cobo, moving from half a year that we consolidated, moving to a full year, this could mean an additional 20 million euros revenues. Okay, next, if this was by country, well, you see the growth, apologies. So amazing, and looking to the overall, you see that this is a big amount. The growth that we achieved in 5 years is a group with 5 times size. So it's amazing, and it was a really great achievement. So again, thank you all for your contribution to this big achievement. And now if we look by country, and now let's have a look by business line. Good. Servicing is the core business of the group. It was set up with this main business, and we have been introducing additional ones to give more life cycle to our clients. And as you see, the size has been stable during the last years, with the same around the 80% size of the business. But this is moving on, and is being changed along the years as we are introducing more services. We are acquiring different companies with different services for our investors, which are diversifying our product cycle. And even this is what we expect for next year, for this year, for 2023, to increase the slice into other services, to be able to grow in different business lines. So now we expect that we will be like 50-50. So comparing the different circles, above you see that the diversification is giving us a huge push in the market. Focusing into servicing, just a couple of comments. So the orange line means what is the contribution of the new portfolios that are achieved every year. So every year is around 10 million euros, which is a great contribution. The exception is 2020, as I said, it was the COVID year. And even though we were able to incorporate some portfolios in all countries, okay. Now in 2022, we introduced Sareb, which is the biggest portfolio that we have as of today, and with a big impact in the financials. And here, as I said before, is where you can see that we moved from 6 million to 25 because of the time of incorporation, and being from half a year in different stages to a full year. Type of product that we have differentiating into what is the NPL ratio versus the REO. As you see, again, the size of the REO business is higher than the NPL. Also, we convert NPLs into REO, so this makes all the sense. And it's the same situation that happens with Sareb, into Sareb portfolio. And let's look into what is the remaining business lines, all together. Starting with advisory, as you see, this moves along with the market size, and every year we have a steady and consolidated business, except the year of COVID. Corporate services, this business line that started slightly in 2018, has been consolidated along the years. This is because of the trust that our investors have in us, that are giving us more portfolios for managing the BPO side. Agency, both in Century 21, Alsbit, and also in Domus, consolidating. In the case of Domus, we are managing 67 developments into Spain and Portugal, and it's being consolidated as one of the main players, if not the first one, into the Spanish market. And the last facility management company that we acquired in 2022, which you see that the size is quite considerable, is a big player in the market, and we expect that we can grow even much more. And last, new business, all of that we will be able to do for sure into the next year. Juan Ray, yours.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. In the next 5 minutes, I will try to highlight the main aspects of the business in the different countries. Okay, so basically, starting with the First of all, we have to say that 2022 was a very demanding year for several reasons. Basically, the main one was the uncertainty of the general economic environment. I think we have seen increasing rates and also inflation since the first quarter. Everybody was expecting the impact of this on the NPL market and also the real estate market. And the reality is that we have not seen any of it yet. We look at this very closely, but the reality is that in 2022, the main KPIs, both the NPL collections and also real estate collections, remain strong. So it doesn't mean that it won't come, but the reality is that it's not here yet. Also, the portfolios are getting more mature. That means that the pressure from the clients to make collections is increasing along the time. We had to manage huge growth. Basically, we incorporated more than 600 professionals in operations in 2022. And we even had to build from scratch an entire new structure to manage Sareb. And finally, we had to execute the integration of the new business companies that we acquired in 2021 and 2020, which are Domus, Covo, and Alfit and Axis. But we have to say that we managed all those risks with very good results. The budget completion in every country and every business was very good. We achieved the numbers in almost every business. We had a very good level of satisfaction from Sareb in the migration process. I think this was probably the biggest challenge in the history of Hipoges, with a huge effort from all the teams with a very, very good success, and they recognized. We have seen very good results in all of the group companies, so none of them have shown any weakness. And also, we even had time to explore new investments that will be a reality in the next year, such as FinPro, financing in auctions, or hotel management. Now moving on briefly to every country. So in Spain, Hugo mentioned we had very good results in getting new portfolios. We got more or less 9 portfolios amounting 17 billion. Obviously, out of these 17 billion, 14 is Sareb, but still really, really good results in terms of market share. We won portfolios in every business line, NPL, real estate, and NPL and REOs. In terms of performance, the performance was quite strong. We continue seeing better performance in general on the granular product, better than the developer one or the single names. And the real estate activity, as I was saying before, it remains strong, especially on the sale part. We saw very good turnovers from the product that we have on market. But we have 2 big issues or challenges in Spain, which is basically the legal activity that is not running very well. The timing of the proceedings is getting longer, and also we are facing challenges in order to get possession of the assets. So we really need to improve in these 2 areas, but overall, we saw a very good performance. Moving to Portugal, the story is a little bit different. The market in Portugal is not that. The market in Portugal is not that big. It's getting smaller, and also the size of the portfolios are getting smaller. Anyway, we were able to win 1/3 of the portfolios, which is a clear sign that the platform in Portugal is seen as a reference in the market. In terms of performance, as always, amazing performance on the portfolios. Budget completion has been almost 100%. Here, the NPL recoveries were 17% above, while real estate activity ended up 10% below. But this is not really based on the performance of the real estate, but it's due to the fact that there's a swap in strategies, and we are seeing that we are not converting as much REOs as we want, because most of them are even sold in auction. So again, really strong and very good performance in Portugal, as always. Moving on to Greece. As you know, we operate through 2 different companies because of the regulatory framework. Alfit, which is the real estate company, and Profeselas, that is the company that do the NPL servicing. Hugo also mentioned before, Greece is, everybody was expecting, let's say, an explosion on the Greek market since the last 2 years. The reality is that this has never came yet, but we are getting ready for it. So in this regard, we invested in the business in Greece, where we opened 2 offices, one in Thessaloniki and the other one in Athens. Very big office, very good premises, with enough space to grow, which is what we expect from the Greek market. Anyway, even though we have not won any big portfolio, we have some very good and strong numbers in the Greek platform, with more assets in all portfolios and even new clients. So again, very good performance also in Greece. Now finally moving to Sareb. Sareb, obviously, as I was saying before, is the biggest challenge in the history of Hipoges. We migrated the portfolio in 3 stages. This was an amazing, difficult project, let's say. with people without sleep for days. I mean, it was an amazing effort from all the teams and all the departments. So we migrated one slice of it in July, which is basically all the NPLs coming from Haya and Servihabitat. The REOs from Haya were migrated in August, and finally the REOs from Servihabitat migrated in October. So since the 1st of October, let's say we managed the 100% of the portfolio, which KPIs are basically 12.5 billion. This is not face value. This is pure real estate recovery, let's say. It's 6.6 billion of NPLs and 6 billion of REOs. That basically, we can say that we're managing overall more than 150,000 real estate units in this portfolio. The first months of the management were quite successful. We achieved 75% of the budget, even considering that this budget was not considering the transition. So we did 75% of the let's say of the budget from the, we can say, the previous services. This was very good results, to be honest. But what we're facing is quite massive. So as you can see, as you can see, next year we will have to do only in Sareb 1.5 billion of collections and 1 billion of REO conversion. So basically, and I end up here, next year is very challenging. We need to do more than 3 billion of collections. That means that we have to collect more or less an average of almost 300 million per month, which is quite a challenging number. So thank you, everyone. I would like to thank you for the effort in 2022, and also wish you the best of luck for 2023, because we have very good and big challenges ahead. Thank you very much.
So now all the results that we have been talking, and all the numbers, new business lines, new portfolios, the reason is we haven't been that busy. So we got new stuff in. So during 2022, we had new achievements. We got to new positions. And from a company perspective, we achieve also lots of things. Not only from numbers, but as an example, Sareb was moving from the big increase on people. Now we get to the other type of achievements. Best in class. So we got a new Fitch rating. We were already rated by Standard & Poor's. We did the Sareb migration. All the teams, analysis team, everyone was quite committed to that big project. I understand that eventually for Greece, Italy, or Portugal, you don't have a clear notion what it is, but it was quite a challenging process. Also, another thing that I would like to say is the office expansion. Office management was quite busy. We are talking that we have now 10 offices, and even yesterday we were seeing that we have people spread in 31 locations. So it's a big thing. And even this year in Portugal, we're going to move Lisbon to a new office. Other type of structural changes. One, we are going to have Hums2, that we will speak a little bit further in our town hall. The fact of the new offices, that is quite an amazing work that it was done. And the new business line, of course, that Marta already mentioned, that it was Kobo, that was an acquisition during 2022. But all of this is only being possible because we have people. So we want to share with you a little bit of the facts that we have around people. We have cross-business synergies, we have the new certification, and everything is not being able to be achieved without the people that we have in the company. And let me tell you, we are quite a lot as today. So going to the curiosities and the intensity of these people. Intensive recruitment process, always active, and always trying to adjust and restructuring our teams to give the best results to our clients. Moving on to additional numbers. Portfolios, we have already talked. Next one will be, and it's not easy, as you can see. The lemma or the code of our culture is make it happen, find a way. So it's always in everything that we do. It's not going to be first-handed at the first time perfect, but we always try. Sustainable growth. We continue performing, but we continue performing in a safe way. We don't want to do mistakes. We want our clients to come back. We are a team that is very focused, not on the problems. Each time more, we need to be focused on solutions with determination and dedication. Is that what we count from people, but is the fact that is what we receive from our teams. We never lose the sight on our targets, on our business lines, and that is only possible because Hipoges does an individual approach to each of the actions plans that they need to put in place. Moving on, headcount. Well, HR has been quite busy the last years. As we all have been mentioning, the group is already more than 1,600 people. In terms of gender, I think we are quite balanced as today. Training hours, as you can see, more than 21,000 hours. Average age, I like this effect. We all seem much, much younger, but the average age of the company is 39. The average tenure, 2 years. Don't forget that the effect of the big recruitment that we have last year has an effect of the tenure in the company because it was bigger before we start 2022. Another thing that we are proud, nationalities. We have 25 different nationalities working in the company, and we are a company that supports diversity and is something that is very important to us. Next, in terms of our human capital, we started 2022 with 900 employees. Now we are moving, and as March, the 1,600, and by the end of the year, 1,400. It means a 60% increase on our human capital. On the next one, you will see that also the process that we do to manage all the people is something that we are proud, is that we had a 15% promotion rate. So we value our internal talent, and we want to maximize that talent, and that's why each time that we look at the teams, we look always on internal opportunities. And moving to market.
So a few words regarding what we have done and also opportunities for 2023. I would start with just one comment, going back to what everybody else said. I think what we achieved in 22 was pretty amazing. I think if we go back to 19, we had COVID, so a year that was very challenging. In 21, we saw a bit more activity. We captured these opportunities, and we were able to grow significantly. Again, in 2022, we have inflation, we have uncertainty, and we have the war. But if we go back to the year, I would say that despite all the concern of the people in the market, we have been able to do a very good job. If we see all the different activities, starting from boarding of Sareb, helping grow the Domus and Axis and Greek platform, as you saw, despite the reduced activity, they did a very good job. I think at the beginning we saw that we boarded a lot of new projects and portfolios. We managed to acquire a new company. So despite all a very difficult environment, I think we proved that as a company we can do a very good job in finding new business and activities to keep growing. Now in 23, I think we again see a year that might be challenging, and we will have to do a big effort to keep on this same track. But I I think we have again all the skills and the capacity to do that. What we are seeing in the market in terms of transactions, I think there's a few changing trends, and this is applying to all the countries. First of all, we see that more and more investors are getting to the end of their investment cycle, and some of them will start selling portfolios. We have been active in the last 1 or 2 years. It's a relatively difficult business, but as we're saying at the beginning, we are very, very close to probably closing the biggest secondary trade that happened in Spain, I think, over the last few years. And I think we need to see secondary transactions as an opportunity more than a threat. On one side, it's true that some of our clients might be willing to sell some of the assets, but I think that the position we have is very good and will help on one side when there are deals in the market, like this one, take the opportunity to get new business from competitors, and at the same time, when our own clients want to do the same, if we are doing a very good job, we're trying to keep the management, and this ends up being boarding a new client. We are, as an example, these days working on a potential transition from one of our clients to another one, and we're very close, and I think this will help us add a new client to our panel of investors. The second thing that we're seeing, and I think we'll see more and more, is on bilateral deals. Generally, there is a bit less competition in these transactions. I think the huge appetite that we saw in the last 5 years, 2015, 16, 17, is fading a bit. So we need to do more work to convince people to invest in transactions. But again, I think this is an opportunity, because all of a sudden, instead of competing against 5, 6, 7 competitors, both investors and platforms, we have a chance to go in bilaterals. It was not in the presentation, but we are very, very close to signing a relatively large real estate transaction here in Spain in bilateral. We have been looking at other similar situations at the end of last year, and I think we will see more and more in the future. This, again, gives us a higher probability of closing something when we start doing a work. Another point that I think is very important is servicing outsourcing. Sareb was a very good example. I think against all odds, we were able to beat competition that, if we go back a year and a half ago, nobody would have ever said that us and Aliseda as well would have been able to get this business out of the incumbents. So first of all, this proved that this is relatively achievable. And then, while in the last 10 years in Spain, but also in Portugal and other countries, it was very difficult to get business from banks, because all the contracts were captive with 3 or 4 large platforms. All these contracts are now coming to an end. And more and more in 2023 and the coming 2 years, we will have an opportunity to go to the banks and convince them that we can do a better job than the other players. In addition, as we see, there is less and less opportunities and options for the banks, and so the competition will be among fewer candidates. We're actively looking at a number of them, and hopefully we will be successful. And a last case is a trend towards a segment that in Spain and Portugal has not been very relevant. In Italy was much more interesting in the past, which is now that a big volume of the NPL scenarios have been resolved, banks might be looking at disposing of other asset types, performing, reperforming, UTPs, and so on. I think here we have a good advantage, which is we can bring the experience that we have in Italy. Axis has been involved in this type of deals, and we're actively now starting to talk to financial institutions in Spain and in Portugal to offer this type of solutions. And we see that generally in the market there's a bit of a shift towards this type of assets. So hopefully we'll see something happening in 23. In this next slide, okay, here we, this is a very, very quick comment on the pipeline. As said, 2023 might have seen a relatively quiet year at the beginning, but as a note of comfort, I would say that if you look at this slide, which is very high level indicative, you can see that in Spain there's a number of live transactions. We're involved in many of them. In Portugal, the same, and Spain pipeline and Portugal pipeline is our estimate, talking to advisors, of what is going to come in the next 9 months. So as you can see, a good amount of activity, and we'll be involved in most of that. In Italy is the same. I think we will be involved in a number of them, probably smaller average size, but there's a very large pipeline of deals where we can bring all of our clients to a new market. And finally, in Greece, you see the biggest number. There is a shift, I would say, from the large mega deals, but still there's a few that hopefully will not happen in the securitization, where the three incumbents are always capturing the business, but could start happening in secondary trades and whole loan transactions. And again, as we're saying before, Alsvid has done a very good job in establishing itself as a very good real estate platform, and they will play a role, and the same we'll try to do through Hellas. And if we go to the next slide, I think these are three areas that I think it's important to mention to everybody, because sometimes these are things that are not shared with the wider group. So a first initiative that we're working on, I think it's very important for us, is that Hipoges is working to raise a fund to look at small investments. The area where we're struggling the most in some of these countries, and I would say in Spain and Portugal, is every time there is a deal that is small, it's very difficult to convince a client to participate. We see a huge opportunity. We see that we're missing a piece of the market that is very important, and we are very close to finalizing the raising of a significant fund, not too small, honestly, where Hipoges will co-invest, and with which we will start bidding on all the deals that are, say, 20 million and below. This will help us, in addition to face the banks and the sellers as Hipoges. So not as an intermediary, but as a principal that is capable of acquiring portfolios. We're working on a few pilots, and this will be used to close all the details of this initiative. So we hope to be up and running way before the summer. Another point that I think is very important is, and I think it's good that we have the town hall these days, because we can probably announce that we have finally started this initiative of establishing a mortgage broker. So as we speak, we have an agreement with a partner to create a mortgage broker that we will use to basically originate mortgage for banks on all the sales that we do at Hipoges. As you know, we're starting to have a very large volumes of transactions every month, people that are buying real estate from us in Spain and Portugal. And we want to be able to capture this business. So we'll start from our own assets, but as the platform will grow, the idea is that this can be a broker that works in the market and tries to originate mortgages for banks, for Hipoges transactions, and also third-party transactions. Again, we're starting these days, and we hope to have this operating around the summer. And then Generally speaking, we're also involved in a lot of other initiatives to keep growing the business. As you have seen in the past, we're looking at geographies, we're looking at business that is complementary to our core MPL business, and we're actively and actually working on real deals to help the Greek platform expand into new servicing activities through acquisitions. There's a couple of initiatives in Greece. There's a specific initiative in Italy that we're looking at. We are actively, we're very close to probably announcing an acquisition in Spain in the next few weeks. As you probably know, some people know, we are starting now an initiative in Portugal with a JV with a company that's called KPI to manage hotels, starting from Portugal, but then potentially expanding to other countries. And we're helping the corporate business, corporate services business to diversify its activity into securitization. So there's a big focus on diversifying the Hipoges core business, and I think the track record that we had in the last 2 years is pretty positive, and we should all be comfortable that we will be able to keep adding business in 2023.
Okay, that's moving. Not the fact is that we have people, but we also need help from the systems. So the idea of 2023 is that finally we can do an upgrade on our HAMS, that is our core system, and that the objective of doing that is, one, improving the usability on the day-to-day. So we want the system to be more friendly, to be faster, that it's more easy to go to perform our job. But the fact is that with that, we want also more functionalities. We want that we could have more automatic process that can help us do our jobs in a more efficient way. Identify operation functionality improvements, but we cannot forget that also from an infrastructure perspective in terms of the part of the technical side of HAMS that needs to be more robust. Well, if we need people to manage and give all of these numbers, we also need a good system, a strong system to support us. So with that string and going forward, HAMS, the idea is that it can give us more powerful tools that can help us on the day-to-day. We are talking, so how can this create any type of impact? Of course it can, because we are going to plan, and we have planned the migration for May. So currently we are at the stage of doing the testing, identifying issues, trying to adjust to the different platforms that we work on for Portugal, for Spain, for Greece, and we hope that in the near future we can have also Italy on boarding HAMS 2. So in May, we ask for your patience, and we are eager to have this new system, and this is also going to be a big challenge for 2023 because we know what this can impact on our day-to-day. I don't know if you can...
Yes.
So what we did, we analyzed the first steps in terms of the functionalities, we identify the needs of the teams, we implement the different scenarios. Now we are going on the new application, and the idea is to continue improving our operational and functional improvements. Timeline, that is the next one, is the one that I had already mentioned. So we started 1 year ago. These are very complex processes involving lots of people. And with one thing that I need to say and to give a big congrats to everyone, this is not only a work done by analysis, because it needs the involvement of everyone in the company, portfolio, corporate services, finance, operations that are involved in the process, that identifying what we have, doing the testing, and now the big go live is expected for middle May. We count on you and your support. But it's not only the strategy that we have for next year. So Hugo will be talking also in terms of our vision and the strategy for this year, on top of what Claudio has already mentioned in terms of the market and the market trends. Passing on.
Yes, so let's try to
Trying to.
just 1 more minute. So basically, we're going to try to. So that is just to revisit a bit what is the strategy of Hipoges during the last years that we have been announcing. We are just revising the strategic plan of the company until 2025. But I think like a big part of what I'm going to say now was a bit resumed a lot by Claudio, even some stuff from Marta, Margarida, and Juan Rab. But just to say that I think this slide is quite good in the sense that the way that we have grown the business was basically create the company, and as I was saying, one of the pillars there was the client expansion. So since day one, we focused a lot on creating a company that was multi-client, diversifying the risk on that. So we continue growing the client expansion, and we continue looking to new clients. Moving to when we have achieved that, the strategy has moved to basically growth in a different way, finding new geographies. So we are very proud of what we have built in Greece along these years. It's a very recognized company, and that's why we work not only with banks, we work not only with investors, but even with our competitors. The same way I was saying, this is the reality. So Italy is the biggest NPL market, which is our core business. So the success of acquiring that company and continue with this strategy of expansion on the geographies was quite good. But aside from the geographies, and I was always mentioning this, have in mind what we have been trying to build was expanding business lines. I think corporate services is the best success of that, in the sense that how good is the business and how we have been growing. And as Claudio was mentioning, we are going much more, and we will try to see in the next slides. But aside from this, now we are a company with more than 1,500 employees. We have more than 48 billion of assets. So this is now a very big company. And one of the things that we started doing 3-4 years ago, and probably a bit late, was exactly the question of create a sustainable company, moving to a lot of automatic process. And I think the strategy and innovation department and team working across the whole departments was quite important. So saying this, and independently that me, Claudio, and the strategy team is working on the new strategic plan, I think the growth of this company is moving by country. As I was saying, expanding the business lines, and nowadays I think the M&A activity that is in the bottom is quite relevant. So just giving you a snapshot of, as Maria was saying, like the immediate objectives, but more strategic. I think this is quite relevant, and just a snapshot. I think this slide is even good. So Spain, guys, we are today the leader, probably sharing with the competitor of Alicedo or the Blackstone platform, as we want to say, and this is new for us. So I think a lot of challenge is coming. The competition now is basically trying to touch us, let's say, or our clients. So it's quite new. Sareb, this is a 14 billion portfolio. So for more than we want to not mention, that is a reality. It was quite challenging. Was unbelievable the work, and I think across all the departments of the company, what we have achieved was quite amazing. Saying this, I think it is clear perfect, as Claudio was saying. I think the market is moving for what we were expecting, that the bank externalization in Spain is going to be a reality. It was in the US, it was in the UK, and this is just coming late. I think winning Sareb and moving to that project is putting us in a new, unique opportunity, because if there is a service in Spain, or two, as said and does, that is working, the biggest AUM of a bank are us. So saying this, we are quite prepared for the wave of what is happening, not only the contracts that Claudio was mentioning, but even the need that the banks will have to continue externalizing the servicing. Saying this, as I said, being the market leader, but being in Spain, competition is quite aggressive, and I think we have to have his in mind. Moving to Portugal, I think like we have been achieving for 4 or 5 years in a row an amazing performance, and we still need to focus a lot on the large volume of AUM that we have in that company, specifically one portfolio even that is quite challenging, but the performance is quite good. As Claudio was saying, Portugal is in a situation today that the market is not going to vary much in terms of size, and we all knew that. So the question that when we move to small investments, we struggle, that is how important finding new capital sources, it is critical for us. And that's why the small fund opportunity that Claudio was mentioning could be quite critical for Portugal. Saying this, Portugal is a bit different from Spain in the sense that the origin of the company was exactly bank business or bank sterilization business. We continue being very well positioned. I think across our competition, we are the ones that work more with banks. And guys, like I was saying to Spain, is the same in Portugal. The banks need to externalize, even by contract specifically, but even because they will not have resources. So it is clear, and just speaking with intervenants in the market, consultants and so on, that the bank externalization is going to be a trend. So moving on, aside from this in Portugal specifically, we've been trying to do other business lines. The SGOIC that we have is quite a proper achievement, and the hotel management joint venture that we have set up, that we have just one contract and a very respectable contract. Moving to Italy, as I said, biggest market, the pipeline is really amazing. I think we are doing quite well on the UTP business. That is something that in Italy is booming, and all the other geographies is moving on. We have been targeting a lot of legal, let's say, servicing on advisory and even on the platforms. This is quite special market. So everyone that knows Spain, Portugal, Greece, when you go to Italy, it's a different world in the sense of the market works and how sizable are the number of players. And I think the last bullet point that I have here for Italy, for me, is the key. The pipeline will not stop. The secured portfolios are coming. Strategy always go via real estate. And I think this is what we need. We need to create the infrastructure on the real estate to basically do. When we achieve that, the opportunities will come even more to us. Greece, I think until today we have been quite patient, but I'm quite proud of what we built. It's not an easy market. I would say that is the toughest market. But finally, and when I was saying that we are waiting, now we see that. So the secondary transactions are coming out of the securitization. That is a reality. And this is going to create opportunity to us. On our opportunities, we still are there. We are winning, in fact. And as I said, aside from the secondaries, new investors are coming to the market. They will not work with the usual services because they're not comfortable. The example is the work that we have been doing with Lone Star, with Cerberus, and others will come. Continue moving on, even by time. So I think, as I was describing, we have growth via new geographies. We set up the business in Greece. We bought houses that give us a big boost. And finally, in Italy, as I was saying, Axis acquisition was quite successful and quite proud. On the right is basically business that Claudio says joint venture, but in fact, part of them were created by us, but like creating the business from the scratch. The entering on the broker business, corporate services, as I was saying, that is quite successful. The FinProp, that is the SGOIC, that now we have an alternative credit platform in Portugal that could work outside, specifically in Spain, and we are trying to target that. And we got a license too on that SGOIC, that we are able now to be manager of real estate funds. Moving on, we set up the hotel management company, as I said, KPI Hotels, And as Claudio mentioning, quite proud that we are just moving on the mortgage broker. Finally, and I was mentioning the M&A, and I'm difficulties to move the slide. But on M&A, just very proud on the acquisition that we did with Domus. I think we have a great partner with that acquisition, as we are seeing in this slide. You could not imagine the number of new mandates that this company is winning. And aside from that, Grupo Cobo was acquired, entering on the property facilities.
So, as we are running out of time, I know that we opened to Q&A, so we got some of your questions, but for a question of time, we will respond directly to the people that send us, and let me thank you for your commitment and your questions. But as we had some issues here in terms of timing, we will respond directly to all. And of course, let me just reinforce that all of this team is available for any type of questions, any doubts, any issues that you could have based on what we talk here today. All the team is available, HR is available. Reach out to us and we will try to give you the best answer. So thank you so much for attending. Individual notes, Lisbon, let's move to the new office, and for sure the market will keep up. Porto, continue on growing. Sevilla, the small one, but for sure is going to increase. Enjoy April, be careful. Madrid, the monster, the big one. So let's keep up the work and continue improving our results. Sareb team, we are counting on you. Domus, Century 21, that is also on the two countries. Valencia, big portfolio, continue on your support. Barcelona, also with Cobo and the team. Rome, Milan, Athens, and Saloniki, this is your year, so we are counting on the growth on these countries. Thank you so much for attending the town hall, and let's have again an amazing year. Thank you all.